lot of things going on, and you got some coffee, and there's some good conversation. I really appreciate all the conversation. Hopefully some of those photos were bringing back some memories of different places. Did you recognize any place, Stan, anything out there that stood? Well, I found an interesting story. Sally said that's where you met Terry at Georgie Porgy's. So Georgie Porgy's was at least good for one relationship. Amen. All right.
Art's Drive-In. And
Art's Drive-In for Stan and Nancy. So awesome. That's been fantastic. How many of you met at a drive-in? All right. Oh, you have a couple maybe. So, well, we are happy that we're able to be able to celebrate tonight and recognize our past and talk a little bit about our present and certainly hope for the future. But one of the things that we would be amiss if we did not really truly recognize our past in the sense of just really embracing some folks that were very important, and not only the Chamber's history, but actually our community's history. And one of those people are actually working right now as our president. And I'd like to ask Marc Hodges if he would come up and help me in just a moment. Marc Hodges is president of ACCS, owner-operator of ACCS in Frankfort, downtown Frankfort. Also our Chamber Board President for our second-year term. Would you please welcome Mr. Marc Hodges. Thank you, Marc. Marc is going to help me recognize a few people over the years that sometimes get, I don't know why, but we get sometimes too, I think, carried away in the Chamber, and we get to talking and thinking about a lot of different things, and our gears get to moving, and wheels get to turning, and sometimes we leave people out, and we don't certainly mean to do that, but tonight we wanted to recognize those some of those folks. First of all, I want to recognize our present board members, and we apologize. Janine paid me some money to keep Joe's name off of the board, but Joe Rule is actually a Chamber board member. He's not in our program tonight. That was purposely, no, it was not purposely done. We're very apologetic, Joe. Very sorry. Not sure how that happened, but it does. But if all of our Chamber board members would stand at this time, all of our present Chamber board members that are here. We have Leo Gonzalez back there. We have Rick Gunyon, Joe Rule, Carol Price, Tammy Moss, Barth Hendrickson. Who else am I missing? Oh, Sharon Mardoner. I thought she's, oh, and Karen Miller just popped in. Thank you, Karen. But give these folks a round of applause. They are our present board members who helped us put this on tonight. We, though, also want to recognize some former important people that have been around for a while. And I'm going to ask Marc if, when I call their names, Marc, I'm going to have you deliver one of these bags and an envelope here. But we have past Chamber presidents that we wanted to recognize here tonight, and we have several that are in the audience. Of course, over the course of 100 years, we've had many, and if you look at your program, on the back of your program, every president is listed since the beginning of the Chamber until now. Some have served double duty, like Marc Hodges is going to be serving his second year starting in 2015. But one of our former presidents here tonight, we want to recognize Miss Christy Bledsoe from the St. Vincent Hospital. Where did Christy? Also, one of our former board presidents that we appreciate tonight, she's right up here, is Karen Larimore. So, Karen, we're thankful for your being with us. And Marc, if you could give that. These are just a bag of goodies that are made right here in Clinton area. And get to have a card there and some goodies, so hope you enjoy those goodies. Also, another one of those board members from St. Vincent Hospital, Mr. Tom Crawford, who is back there in the back. Also a past board president just in this past year, who certainly was instrumental in helping us with a lot of the things that have been going on, along with Marc Hodges, Mr. Barth Hendrickson from Browning, Deurdorff, Mullins and Day. We also want to recognize, and by the way, I hope he appreciates all of the video on Michigan Town, but our Michigan Town warrior, Mr. Larry Rule, also a former past chairman, president of the state. I'm sorry, Larry, we don't have green, but he's back there. So there he is, he's back there. He's hiding. We don't have green bags, we only have red, blue, and black, but you can pretend it's green. One that we will make sure for sure is blue, both not only for Frankfort, but for Butler as well. And we appreciate all that she does as a city councilwoman, also as a former president of the chamber, Miss Wanda Mitchell. And make sure you share that with Marc, Wanda. This was our first and only, we can do these in concert, I think, Marc. Okay. This is our first and only husband and wife team that were both president during our 100 years, and that would be Larry and Carol Price. So, we're going to hear from Carol here in a little bit. Also, another past president that really needs no introduction. You see him walking the streets quite often. In fact, we kind of joke around that we call him, but we don't call him Dirt. We just say he's as old as Dirt because he's been around as long as that. But Mr. Fred Carter, we've got him in a black bag for you, Fred, as well. Former president of the chamber, Fred Carter. And last but not least, he's not a past president, but he is our great president that we have right now. Mr. Marc Hodges, I want to recognize you. Thank you very much, Marc. Appreciate that. So you never know what's under the Christmas tree. So we hope you enjoy those goodies, and we appreciate all that you have done. Sometimes I don't think people recognize and realize what things happen in chamber board meetings. In fact, we have the first original board minutes over on the table from 1915. February of 1915 is on the table under the ice sculpture. I challenge you to go and take a look at that when you have a chance tonight. In fact, we also want to recognize somebody that really, without their historic mind and willing to preserve and keep things for many, many years, we wouldn't have most of these relics, most of these photographs, and he is my special guest sitting at our table tonight, Mr. Leroy Good. Would you please welcome him? Of course, Leroy is our Time Citizen of the Year, reigning, and we couldn't have had a better one. So thank you, Frankfort Times, for picking and selecting Mr. Leroy Good. What a tremendous selection, and he has honored us well this year. Well, we have some other presentations that we would like to make at this time, and I get amazed. You know, I look at Clinton County and I look at Frankfort as some town, and I look at all those old pictures and I see all these faces, and some of you have some of these great stories, and I envy you. I moved here in 1983, and 31 years ago, and certainly have made this my home, but I envy those parade pictures because I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't a part of the landscape back in the 70s or 60s or 50s. Of course, I wasn't even a part of the landscape period in the 50s. But it was, I always said I was born too late. I should have been born in the Leroy Good era. I think Leroy and I would have made good foxhole buddies, I think. But Leroy, in fact, his birthday is June 8th, mine's June 9th, so we're kind of kindred spirits. But the thing that I really appreciate and think about when I look at our community, and Greg Miller and I were talking about this earlier, is the things that we take for granted so often. We take for granted relationship, we take for granted the old buildings, we take for granted some of just the happenings that have taken place over the years. And like Leroy was explaining in the video piece about the sidewalk days and the variety of different festivals. Well, something that I think we also sometimes take for granted is just our local business. The power of local business. The power of being able to go down the street and buy a piece of lumber. Or be able to go into a jewelry store and pick out your wife's Christmas present. Don't get excited, honey. That's not happening this year. But it may sometime, but not this year. Boy, I really almost messed up that. Okay, so, but what I'm saying is that it's so important for us to recognize business. And when we think about these businesses that have been around for this long, it to me is a true testament of that determination and that will to fight and to continue something that you have passion about, that you have purpose about, that we hear a lot from our mayor. Well, tonight is no different. Kathy at Ellis Jewelry sent us some information, and I wanted to share this a little bit because we want to celebrate them tonight. Now, before we get real excited, they are not quite centennial members yet, okay? They've been around for only 98 years, but we're going to give you a mulligan. We're going to give you a pass so that, but here's the deal. You have to stay open for at least 2 more years, Jim, all right? So that is the deal. You've got to stay open. So here we go. James Ellis was a grandfather that started working for Claude Howard in 1909 at the west side of the square. He partnered with Chris Arkins in September of 1916 that was known as Arkins and Ellis on the north side of the square. The store became Ellis and, is that Beckman? Beckman in 1928. Why all these partners, Jim? I don't understand. The store moved to 2008 North Jackson in 1936. Jim Ellis, which is Kathy's dad, started working in 1947. Jim Ellis and his mother, Elizabeth Ellis, took over the store in 1952 when James Ellis passed away. The store then moved to its current location in October of 1963. The Lebanon store was purchased in January of 1978. And it is such a privilege and a pleasure tonight to be able to honor a 98-year-old business in our community that's not only in our community but has expanded into other communities. Would you please help me recognize the Ellis Jewelry Store? Jim, Kathy. I'll come that way, but we've got a flag here that we're honoring all of our Centennial Chamber members out here tonight, and it just simply says, all of them have the same inscription. So it says, the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce recognizes Ellis Jewelers for a century of memories, milestones, and making a difference in our community. Celebrating 100 years of Chamber partnership, thank you, and we look forward to many more. The Clinton County Chamber of Commerce. Jim, thank you. Ready. The next, our next award winner, Jason, if you want to roll that.
Within the framework of Clinton County, banks of various sizes and names have come and gone. One bank has remained for well over 100 years and has maintained the same ownership. That's why this bank is not for sale. Karen Miller, President, the Farmers Bank.
The Farmers Bank was established in 1876. So the Farmers Bank has been in operation as a community bank for more than 129 years. And we're excited about that heritage. We're excited about the fact that we've had 18 presidents before the current administration that have focused on the community, have focused on the Farmers Bank, and good, sound banking practices. This bank is not for sale because our directors and shareholders do not want to sell Farmers Bank.
All right, so for over 129 years, actually it's about 136 years, I believe now. Karen Miller's not been around that long, but boy, I do like your hair a lot better now, Karen, than I did back when that video was taken. By the way, that video was shot back in 2005, almost 10 years ago. So look how much you have matured and changed. And beautiful. Karen, would you please come? I'd like to recognize the Farmers Bank, our local bank here in Frankfort. Yeah, the two directors come on up.
Shan and Jack and Tom. You guys come up, please. Where's Tom? Crawford.
Nice to meet you.
I know. I'm like, yeah, I have blonde hair. Wait for Crawford to get here. These are three of the directors of the Farmers Bank that are not willing to sell the bank.
Our next 100-year recipient, I believe, can probably speak for themselves as well, except he's a little more long-winded. Let's hear what he had to say about 9 years ago.
When doors and windows were custom made. Jack Ransom, Kramer Lumber.
Kramer Brothers Lumber Company, Inc. is our official name. For many years we've been known as Kramer Lumber. It actually started back in 1872 with two cousins who got together and decided that there was an opportunity to make lumber and sell it. And it evolved with a couple more cousins joining, another brother of theirs joining, and eventually there were, I think, 5 Kramers at the turn of the century who were involved. When I say turn of the century, I'm talking about turn of the 1900s because it was started in 1872. Actually, my grandmother was Blanche Kramer, and she married Tim Ransom when he came back from World War I in 1918. Tim's father, Bud, Hiram B. Bud Ransom, had a grocery store, which would be located on West Washington across from where Hinshaw's just built it, related their new building. And Tim worked for Bud when he came back from the service, and after getting married, his father-in-law talked to him about the lumber industry, and Tim realized that the grocery industry, your inventory would spoil about every 3 days, plus he got tired of reaching down into the pickle barrel to pull out the dill pickles, so he decided to try the lumber industry. And at that point in time, our industry was really a lot of manufacturing. We had a planing mill where we actually took logs in and dressed, cut the logs, planed them down, put them in a kiln, dried them, and then manufactured windows, doors, molding. A lot of the old houses that you visit along Clinton Street, Washington Street, on the east side of town have custom millwork that was made here at Kramer Lumber. And up until probably World War II, a lot of our business was based on that type of business. Read in one of our articles that we have that at some point in time back around the turn of the century, we were actually generating enough steam power that we sold some electrical, we did some electrical generation for the west part of Frankfort. We have a picture in the hallway that I'll show you that shows an explosion that occurred. So we know probably our steam boiler exploded, and it says that there was another explosion a year later that possibly even killed someone. We've never found the details about that, but we know that the steam generator was used a lot, and a lot of pressure was put on that. After World War II, it seemed like we became more in the distribution business, where all of a sudden windows, Anderson Windows, were manufacturing windows in mass quantities and distributing through dealers like us. Doors and millwork and many other items were being manufactured and distributed. In 1952, we put in our first, quote, hardware store. Up to that point in time, we carried nails and a few door hinges and door locks and a little bit of paint, but basically everything else was lumber, window.
And Jack, I think we would stick to lumber and stay away from the steam power generation. I don't think that's worked out too well, all right? So, but hey, what a tremendous business to have here locally, where you can go get nails, paint, whatever you need right here in Frankfort, Indiana. Also another business that has expanded into Lebanon, Indiana. Would you please, let's certainly welcome and appreciate and recognize Jack and Tom Ransom. Tom?
Sally's the matriarch too.
100 years. 100 years in the chamber and many, many more years in business. Unreal. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Jack. Last but not least, in our Centennial Awards recognition tonight, in fact, I was just there this morning. Just had an opportunity to be there, and I've had the opportunity for many years. In fact, in 31 years ago, well, actually about 30 years ago, I officiated my first funeral, and it was at Goodwin Funeral Home. And I never will forget, as I am preparing myself in one of the rooms for the services and very nervous and in the moment, Mr. Goodwin comes in and he hands me some shoe shining material. And I said, oh, well, thank you. And he said, well, your shoes are shined okay on the front, but they don't look very good in the back. And I said, well, thank you. And he said, just remember, that's the last impression people will get of you as you walk away. I said, well, thank you, Mr. Goodwin. I appreciate that. And I really had no idea who I was talking to, except I was talking to a legacy in our own community. But continuing that legacy, his grandson, Bill.
Cabinet making and woodworking would lead to a new business. Bill Miller, Goodwin Funeral Home.
Well, my great-great-grandfather, George William Goodwin, came to New York City as a 9-year-old boy, worked his way down, ended up in Lafayette, Indiana in the early 1850s. Then he heard in about 1856 that Frankfort needed a cabinet maker. He was a cabinet maker and a Methodist minister. So he walked here from Lafayette in 1856 to open up a cabinet shop as a woodworker, and the townspeople here in Frankfort decided maybe he could make a coffin also. So they asked him to make a coffin, or a casket as we call it today. And that's how we got started. He undertook the job of making a casket, and that's where we get the name Undertaker. And Mr. Goodwin started in 1856 and worked at that, and worked in our business until his death in 1914. So after great-great-grandfather's death in 1914, our location was the north side of Square, right up to the right of where Arnie's is today. The building is still there, and our furniture store and Undertaker parlor was located there. Well, after his death, he had 3 sons. 2 of them, of the old bachelor brothers, kind of got in a disagreement. One wanted to move to our present location here on South Main Street, on the corner of Main and Walnut. The other one thought maybe we were moving too far from the square. So Charles won the argument. Charles Goodwin would be my grandfather Bill Goodwin's father, and we moved here in 1923 to our present location from the square. So we've been here since 1923. Incidentally, Charles Goodwin In 1927, he went to the Purdue, Indiana football game with his wife. And the football game was at Indiana, and he died in Bloomington, Indiana. He died while he was attending the football game. So here's my grandfather, a 24-year-old. All of a sudden, his father is gone, and he got put into the business pretty quick, so to say, and worked in the business until he died in 1996.
Would you please welcome our funeral home that's been here for many, many years and certainly has done a great job of undertaking all of the task at hand. Would you please welcome Mr. Bill Miller? Sonia, his lovely wife. You do look dashing in that video. I have one final award to give tonight, and I have to apologize publicly. This was my mistake several years ago, probably in about somewhere around 06, 07. We sent several businesses that had turned 50 to the governor's office, and I had omitted one, and he's never let me forget it. So tonight, I am going to make sure that I rectify my wrong. I don't know really what to say about this, this next award. I may get a little emotional, but Stock's Laundry was opened March 17, 1959 by Lambert and Marion Stock. The original location was at the corner of Polk and Walnut, known as the Culligan Corner at the time. They ran the family business at that location until 1963, when they built a new building at 1605 East Wabash Street around 1966. They incorporated and became L&M Stock Incorporated. The name was chosen using Lambert and Marion initials. Don and Tina purchased the business and started operations in 1978 until they have recently sold it. All of Don's brothers, all 5 of them, have at one time or another, and their 4 children, have helped and worked in the business. I know Don doesn't miss it much, going on Saturday mornings really early and checking all the coins and all, but I tell you, this is one guy that I have been blessed to know. Don and I met while he was mayor, and I was the assistant director at the Chamber. He never could pronounce my name. He just called me the guy that never slept, and that's how he knew me, and that's how I kind of knew him. Except, he would always come in to the Chamber after he got to know me, and he would always come in because he found out that we had pop and chips, and he always would come in. So tonight, I have an award for Don of a Diet Coke and chips, but I have more than that. Don, if you and Tina would come up, we'd like to recognize you. You're closing your business, or sold your business, but after 59 or 56 years, I believe it is, 55 years, wow, we want to recognize you tonight. So Don, Tina. I decided not to get Don a plaque because I didn't think Tina would like it in the decor of their home, but we did get them a beautiful clock, and if I can open it, I'm not too sure. Ellis did this, they wrapped it, so could you hold it for a second while I pull it up? There we go. It's a clock, a mantle clock, and on the inscription, it simply says, L&M Stock and Laundry, and it says, time well spent. And I believe that with all my heart. So, thank you very much. Hey, wait a minute. You got to take the chips and the pop as well. So there you go. Well, Don, you may be interested in this one. I know Wanda will be. Being a Butler fan, we have a couple more special announcements about our tonight's celebration.
Brandon Crone from historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. It's not often you find a person or place or organization older than this place. So congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce on 100 successful years. Wish you much continued success. Frankfort was always such a huge part in my childhood and growing up, and all the businesses that sponsor activities and the sports for the kids. So really appreciate all you've done for the first 100 years and wish you much success going forward.
On behalf of the City of Frankfort, I would like to sincerely congratulate you, the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce, on your 100th year anniversary. Thanks to your leadership, Frankfort and Clinton County is a great place to live, to work, and to play. And with you at the helm, well, our future, it's even brighter. It's been such an honor for me to work alongside you. You push us all to be better human beings, and you certainly empower us to become better leaders. On behalf of myself, my fiancée Samantha, and my family, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you, Brandon, and thank you, Mayor McBarnes. You can give them an applause as they're not here tonight. We appreciate them doing that. Don Luis is not here tonight. You missed out, Frankfort. All right, anyway, that's just my editorial for a second. Dear friends, congratulations to the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce on its 100th anniversary. This is a significant milestone and a tribute to the leadership of this institution. Established in late 1914, just 2 years after the National Chamber was started, the Clinton County Chamber began defending both free enterprise and individual opportunity for Hoosiers. Your Chamber of Commerce continues to do so today, and for this, I commend you. I wish you the best of luck and continued success. Sincerely, our Senator, Mr. Dan Coates. So we appreciate Dan Coates responding to our request today. Well, it wouldn't be a chamber event unless we had a little laughter. And tonight, we certainly will not be undone as we leave here, because we have been fortunate and blessed with something in this community that we sometimes, again, take for granted. We have one of the greatest libraries in the country. It is one of the greatest libraries in the country, winning the award just a few years ago. But also inside that library, there's this little theater. It seats about 247 people. And I know, I'm sure that you have been there on many occasions. And tonight we have some of those performers from our Civic Theater. And we certainly appreciate Janine Burrows and Jean Warren helping us out tonight. But I'm going to turn it over to, I don't know if she's Mother Time or who, but Miss Carol Price.
Good evening. You know, on the thing it said, tonight's program was the Chamber Carol. Is that me? Shan, am I the Chamber Carol?
There you go.
All right. Well, we're going to be talking tonight about the other Christmas Carol. I have to get organized first. The place is Clinton County. The time is December 2014. The season is that of goodwill and charity. Merry Christmas. God save you. What reason do we have to be merry? I am the ghost of Christmas past. These are the shadows of things that have been. The year is late 1914. The chamber is created and took its proper place in the life of Clinton County. Here comes the chamber now. The chamber struggled a little bit. There was a lot of snow that year. It was slippery out. The snow is really heavy. Chamber's almost there. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. As I said, they struggled with heavy snow, but by early 1915, it was well organized and its charter was in place. The first major problem arose shortly thereafter when the hospital was in danger of closing. The Chamber needed to do some thinking. Chamber's getting a little help. The Chamber, oh no, the Chamber lost its footing. Chamber needed to do a little thinking. All right. But some new ideas were needed. Any new ideas? Oh no. All right. I don't know. Eventually the chambers and the ideas will get together. All right. They're just about settled. Good. All right. Let me repeat. The first major problem was that the hospital was in danger of closing. The question was, do we want or need a hospital? Seemed obvious. We needed a hospital. So the Chamber gave $10,000 to save the hospital. In today's money, that's $231,000. Okay, let's see another year. The year is 1920. The Chamber held a discussion about the downtown parking problem. Is that a good problem or a bad problem for business? All right, 1922. The new city light and power project was short money. They couldn't complete the project. As I said, okay, we need some ideas. Oh, the idea was we do need light? All right. And the Chamber gave $75,000 to the city to finish the project. That's hard to believe, Shan. Is that right? That's a little over $1 million in today's money? That's a lot of money. Clinton County began to grow and more goods were needed to be brought to the growing community. But what kind of transportation would help? Thinking. Aha! Rail expansion seemed to be the best idea, so the Chamber lobbied for more land to allow rail expansion in Clinton County. Okay, let's see another year. The year is 1955. The industrial park was created and we needed our first manufacturer. But what would they make? Ideas? Ideas? Are we coming up with anything? Chocolate. We wanted chocolate. Good idea. So the Chamber partnered with Mayor Ken Powers in bringing Peter Paul. That building still exists and now houses Zachary Confections. All right, the year is now 1960. The Chamber held a meeting to discuss downtown parking problems.
And Frank Martin was there.
Any ideas? No ideas. Too many cars and trucks. Is that good or bad for business? The leaders of the new businesses in the industrial park wanted to come to town, and trains were pretty fast, but we wanted something even faster. Ideas? All right. The airport was supported both politically and financially by the Chamber. In the 1960s and the 1970s, residents really liked spending time with each other, and one of their favorite places to gather was the city parks. The city pool was built, and the Chamber helped raise money for park improvements over a 20-year period of time. Ideas kept coming. Oh, an aviary where the petting zoo were built. And then, oh yeah, thanks to Travis Sheets, we're still enjoying the Christmas light display today. Okay, all right. All right, the Chamber and the ideas, I don't know. This sort of resembles current day, doesn't it? Okay, the year is 1977. The Chamber held a meeting to discuss downtown parking problems. Any ideas? Okay, we're still debating why there's a problem of too many people wanting to be downtown at the same time. 1978 to 1980, the industrial park continued to expand and people of Clinton County continued to eat. The Chamber team was instrumental in bringing the world's largest Frito-Lay plant to Clinton County. Clinton County has had some chilly times as well. 1978 and 1992 brought very devastating weather to Clinton County, and the Chamber of Commerce was very involved in helping with communications during both of these events, when in 1978 we got 20 inches of snow that drifted up to 20 feet. And in 1992, we were hit with an ice storm that took down major power, leaving many areas of Clinton County without power for over 2 weeks. The past never dies. Like a shadow, it follows us throughout our days. I am now the ghost of Christmas present. I'm a Christmas present? Okay. You have never seen the likes of me. God bless us, everyone. The year 2014, the Chamber held a discussion of downtown parking problems. Some things never change. And ideas have been coming fast and furious. A new Ivy Tech facility has been built, and partners from many sectors of the community. The education attainment level of our people is improving. After many weeks of work, ConAgra committed to come to Frankfort and is building one of the biggest buildings in the county, in the country. Indiana Packers is hiring our residents with good paying jobs. Wabash National is not only coming to town as an employer, but is improving manufacturing site from the past. The CVS has been built and cleaned up a major corner of the city. Would you raise a glass to the Chamber? It gives us plenty of success, and it would be ungrateful of us not to drink to its health. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Birthday. You are now in the presence of Chamber yet to come, to show things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Will Clinton County be voted the best place for business in Indiana? What do you think? Will Clinton County be voted the healthiest place in Indiana? Will our population grow to 50,000? Will Clinton County have the best academic grades in the state? We don't know what the future holds for Clinton County or the Chamber of Commerce, but we do know that we have the people right here to handle big problems like downtown parking.
Brad Carter's got that split.
Or little problems like wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Would you join me in singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas? Just the first verse, because we don't know the second one yet. Shan, would you lead us?
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Amen. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Thank you very much. We got some more congratulatory announcements here we want to share.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to tonight's historic event. Unfortunately, I cannot be there in person due to a number of official duties occurring at this very time. But one of my very first acts as a member of Congress was to partner with the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce to bring business and community leaders together to discuss our nation's debt and federal overreach. A month later, the Indiana Chamber and I announced a partnership and a new initiative to hold federal bureaucrats responsible for their actions. It's called Red Tape Rollback, and it's going in its 4th year now. Many of the key components of Red Tape Rollback were a direct result of those insightful discussions we had together at Harry's Coffee Bar that Wednesday afternoon in 2011. Fast forward to tonight, and we find ourselves as a community celebrating another major milestone. 100 years ago, a similar small number of business and community leaders gathered in Frankfort and successfully established a new organization that would serve the entire county by promoting entrepreneurship, job growth, and community service for generations to follow. Congratulations to the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce on your first 100 years. This centennial anniversary reminds us of the many who have gone before us and helped grow our Hoosier economy and improve the lives of families throughout our community. To the past and present Clinton County Chamber members, employees, and board members, thank you. Thank you for your leadership and role in building our community. Kathy and I are looking forward to seeing everyone soon, and the boys are hoping we can take them back to the Hot Dog Festival. In fact, they remind us every week. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Clinton County Chamber of Commerce, I am so excited to say happy 100th birthday. Exciting to know that there in Clinton County, we have some of the founding members of the Chamber still in existence. I come from a small town too, and I know how important it is to have our local chambers of commerce and what that means to our business community. So as one chamber member to another, congratulations on your 100th anniversary.
Well, thank you, Congressman Rakita and Lieutenant Governor Sue Esperman. We appreciate all of their kind words. And we also wouldn't, well, we've given him a little bit of a hard time tonight, being with parking and being as old as dirt, but we know him affectionately as someone who's kind of the watchdog, the bulldog around here that's kind of keeping things forward. And sometimes he can be irritating, but he always is engaging and certainly keeps us thinking. Well, he had these words to talk and share, I should say, about the Chamber just a few years ago. Mr. Fred Carter.
1967 to 1968.
The Chamber started in 1915. The primary purpose at that time and continually through even today was to have an organization that looked out for the commerce of the community, both retail and industrial. That became a little more of a critical issue down the road, and particularly coming into today's situation with small communities. Certainly is a more difficult situation as far as the downtown is concerned, which we certainly have experienced here, and have tried to do things to encourage people, entrepreneurs, to open businesses as far as the downtown is concerned, and the town in general, or the community in general. The one thing that we do know is that if people are here shopping either downtown or within the community itself, they're not going out of town. And once they get out of town, it's very difficult to get them back. Along the way, too, the industrial side or the economic development side became a very prevalent issue as far as the chamber is concerned. And in the early 50s, Frankfort was a railroad town, basically, a railroad town and a farm community. And the railroad started going down in terms of employment in the early 50s. Unfortunately, we had some visionaries as far as our community leadership is concerned that recognized this and took steps to do something about it. And that was the point then that the land trust was formed to buy land, to then try to encourage industry to come into play into the community. And the first piece of ground that was purchased at that time was where Zachary is located now. At that time it was Peter Paul Candy purchased the ground, and that was the first plant in the industrial park that took place out west on 28. From that point then, that sale, more land was purchased and so forth, and additional industries were located there until it got to a place where the land cost was too high, and there wasn't enough money involved in the land trust to be able to handle that kind of purchase. So that's when they went into an option type situation with the farmer, the landowner out there. And so basically we have options on land for industry out there. At that same time, recognizing that a couple of other things were happening as far as the economic development side was concerned, the same basic group of people started the Frankfort Airport. It was a private entity to begin with, a group of people that started the airport. Likewise, we had another group, that the Frankfort Development Corp, that had a plant was coming into town to furnish windows, prime windows, to National Homes in Lafayette, but they didn't have the funds to build a building. So the same basic group of people formed Frankfort Development Corp and built the building for the company. We were extremely fortunate in the chamber being a part of this always, because these folks were very active in the chamber also. But we had visionaries, and that was so important to the community that without that we would not have the industrial park. And without that, I'm not sure where the community of Frankfort would be at this time.
Thank you, Fred, very much. Appreciate this time. Tonight's program really couldn't have happened without the assistance and actually planning and putting all this thing together with the committee. We have our committee members here tonight. I'd like to recognize Carol Price, Tammy Moss, Rick Dunyon, and Sharon Bardonna. Would you stand real quick and just kind of wave so everybody knows that but none of it could be done without just a great staff person that I have in the office that works beside me every day and cares a lot about you. One of the things and one of the reasons that I hired Jason a few years ago, because of his sincere customer service desire and passion to help people. And it shows in his voice when he answers the phone, and even to those late afternoons or evenings when people come in looking for a mat, and he's still being polite and smiling. And so I'm asking Jason to come to give us a glimpse of our vision for the future. We may have to change mics here, Jason, if that's okay. But I'm going to ask Jason to come up and share, I think, something that's very exciting, and you local businesses will certainly want to jump on board on this. So, Jason, would you please welcome Jason Wilhite?
Well, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a very big pleasure over the past 4 years in May, to answer the phone, take care of you, help plan these wonderful events that we have here in Frankfort and Clinton County. I don't know where else I'd like to be than right here in Frankfort. And my wife and I, we've had the wonderful pleasure of, we've lived in Indianapolis, we've lived in Thorntown, in Chicago, but we came back home. This is where we wanted to be. So what we have coming up, we can't sit on our laurels, because other chambers of commerce and other places, other states, are not sitting on their laurels. So we are officially today on My Chamber app. All of our members will be listed. The porting is still happening, so it is active. It's just the members aren't listed yet. Folks that have My Chamber app, traveling down 65, even in Lafayette, because Lafayette doesn't have this. North side of Indianapolis, it'll come up, Clinton County Chamber of Commerce. Well, I'm hungry. I'm going to click on this dining and see what dining is available. I want to move to Clinton County, but I don't know what financial institutions are there. My Chamber app, Clinton County Chamber of Commerce, financial institutions. What hospitals represent there? Medical, health, fitness. So this is a brand new app. Hopefully Monday we'll have everyone listed, still working on the porting, just to give us that leg up. Just to get Clinton County another searchable way that people can find, potential customers can find you. About 20, if Marc can correct me if I'm wrong, I think 20% of all internet traffic now are app related, and that's just growing. So we want to be on the front end of this. So I just want to create the excitement. This will be all over ccc100.org. This will be all over the Facebook. This will be everywhere we go this year to promote this and to really get excited about it. What's more exciting than someone driving down Jackson Street and then saying, hey, you just passed Farmers Bank. Well, hey, you just passed Ellis Jewelry. It's just a wonderful place. It works with GPS as well. So just an exciting piece, and it's been a pleasure, and will continue to be a pleasure, good Lord willing, to serve you at the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce.
So, how many of you have smartphones? How many of you have smartphones? Raise them high. Wow, look at that. You got a smartphone, Stan? Yeah. That doesn't surprise me though. But it's amazing. So it is the future. It is what is happening. A lot of folks I know don't, but I'm telling you, most of the younger folks are searching those websites right there on their smartphone. This is going to be an app that they can actually come up, and it will ping you if you're maybe driving by a restaurant and Downtown Diner has a special. It'll let you know Downtown's Diner special at that same time, so that will drive local business, people back to local business. We're going to close, but as we close here in the next few minutes, I want to direct our attention back to the screen. I mentioned earlier I get a little melancholy about this because I didn't have a home. I went to 11 different schools, traveled all over the country. My dad was in construction. So when I moved to Frankfort, I said this was going to be my home. And I am excited tonight to be able to represent Clinton County and Frankfort in a variety of different areas when it comes to economic development and the Chamber. But when I look at these pictures, and just take a trip back with me down memory lane for a few minutes, and you may recognize some of these people, and some have gone. I just want you to be reminded, I want you to take a moment and pause. Just forget about what's going on in 20 minutes from now, or the ball game, or anything else tomorrow. I want you just to think and pause your life. We fast forward so often. We do that. We're very guilty of that in the Chamber. We're very guilty of that. We fast forward. We don't stop and celebrate our successes. You know, Greg mentioned earlier when we were talking, he said, you know, Shan, think about all the businesses. You know, Leroy Good put together this presentation over by our eye sculpture, businesses on the square in 1913. I can't imagine some of the things that have happened. I mean, I look at these pictures and I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. How robust. Can it happen again? I believe with all my heart I would not be standing here if I did not believe in the future of Frankfort and Clinton County. I hope you enjoy a few of these moments and down memory lane. Could you hit the light, Cindy? mayor, but this will be my Christmas present to you, if you don't mind, and we'll leave on this note. And I certainly wish you a very Merry Christmas tonight, and we wish many, many, many New Years ahead. Yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. The years we all will be together, if the Lord allows. The shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas night. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the Lord allows. The shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas night. And have yourself a merry little Christmas. God bless. Merry Christmas.